Talk Network, and welcome here to not one of mine. This is my final video in regards to the game that I was a part of on Twitter, Whodunnit Double Vision. As you can see if you're watching live or archived on the YouTube channel, Whodunnit Double Vision at Whodunnit DV. Had a great time playing. Already missing it a little bit. Looking forward to the next game, putting my application in. However, whether part of production or part of the cast, either way, looking forward already to the next Whodunnit. But before we move on to the future, let's talk about the past. In regards to the past game, let's welcome the other killer, the number one to my number two. The Puppet Master was unmasked himself. And the finale, let's welcome Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And my first question to you, let's go all the way back to the beginning. And when you were casted and accepted the role of becoming the Puppet Master by Gavin, what were your thought processes at that moment before you even were told things, learned things, other things, just right? You're going to be the Puppet Master. What were you thinking?
Well, instantly, when I heard the word Puppet Master, I knew something was up because, in typical Whodunnit, the TV show and games, they don't usually have a quote unquote Puppet Master. So I was like, okay, so what's going on? Like, you need to tell me more, Gavin. And, he started listing out all the information about, the double vision, the double killers. And I was just so excited because that's something that I was really looking forward to, something different from every game I played before. And it was a nice way for me to, I guess, like come back to the community and play another game, another round. Get my hands wet with murdering people this time, which was very different than playing, but nonetheless very fun.
Yeah, and for me, at least from my experience as being as a killer, because what this interview was supposed to be for everybody that is watching, for those that don't know, I was going to be interviewing both, but since I knew I was a killer, I had to keep that under wraps, and it was just going to be me and the other person, the Puppet Master, part of this one-on-one call, kind of talking about maybe our differences and how we approached being a killer, playing that role in regards to the whole entire season. For me, when I heard and found out and accepted the role as the killer, I was kind of excited after hearing from Gavin, oh, there's going to be two killers, and how much I wish that I was able to know who the other person was, because finding out it was you or whoever it was going to be, but in the end was you. If we would really been able to or wanted to work together and run the yard, run the game, and really truly dominate. The reason why he didn't share the other person to each of us, but um, so then when the game actually started with the first murder, with Roseanne's murder, and then henceforth moving forward throughout the game, in regards to strategy and playing, being the role of a killer, being the role of a puppet master, and also trying to blend in and play the game still, so not to um, create any suspicion, which you did a great job in, obviously. How did you approach it with the first murder and moving forward in the early part of the game, as to blend in as a player, but also have fun over at the Puppet Master Twitter handle?
So right off the bat, I didn't know, how to approach the role because there's a lot of people I never worked with before or played games with, so I didn't know how the group was going to, act or perceive everything happening. So at first, the first murder, I kept it pretty low. I kept it like, like I was one of the guests, just the normal procedures. It didn't, take long for me to get into my quote unquote role. A few weeks in, I was just like, I'm done blending in, and I just wanna cause like a mess, cause chaos in the house, and get under people's skin, and put the target on other people and have them think so and so is the puppet master, and it's not me. I didn't do it. But especially week one, we couldn't really say anything because it wasn't quote unquote announced that there would be two killers.
True, yeah.
So we did have to just, oh, there's only one of us. But obviously, we played with everybody else the whole time. But like you said, I think Gavin made an amazing decision not to tell us who the other one was, as much as we begged him and like harassed him for it. Because if that was the case, we would have just been like running the house and making plans of like, oh, how are we gonna get this person out, or how are we gonna
Who's the
sabotage
next?
them?
Yeah, who's the next target? Who do you think who needs to go, sort of thing. Um,
Right, right.
yeah, it would have been total domination, let alone the domination of your team that you were part of in general for the game. But for us, if we were knowing of each other and then being our own super team of two, um, but in regards to the game and even I guess in that kind of thinking, were there certain people that you ever really wanted to get out during the game, or was it just as long as it's not my team members?
It was literally just as long as it's not my team members. Mostly because during my little break, I only played with Russ before. I played with Lindsay. Um, and that was really it from this group. I know Becky was involved in some that I played before, I believe, but I didn't really ever interact with her.
Hmm.
So when I got in, I was like, I knew Ross was going to be my number one ally, as well as Ethan, who I convinced to play down the road, as well as Lindsay. But everyone else, I was like, I don't know most of the people here. So as long as it's not my allies and it throws suspicion as why I'm being spared and my allies are dropping like flies, I'm like, then I'm good to go.
Yeah. Was there, well, probably not because barely anybody guessed you, but I'm still going to ask, was there a time where you were worried in regards to getting scared cards, then being found out like I was in my situation that's been talked about enough times, but for you, um, did that ever happen?
Um, Only like the first uh one and two murders. That's really it because when Gavin was like, "Oh, I'm gonna share them killer tallies, and you'll all get a feel of who's guessing who," I was kind of like, "Oh, great!" Because what if I open this up and I see like 17 votes for me? But after the first three murders when he sent them, I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Let me just continue what I'm doing." Down the road, I'll kind of just like amplify it a little bit to get under people's skin and make everybody more mad. But other than that, I really wasn't. I guess when the numbers started declining, it made myself more of a possibility to be the pub master because at that point it was process of elimination.
Hmm.
And like especially because Billy had a lot of guesses, and once he died, I was like, are they gonna guess me now, or are they gonna just I don't know blame other people? But I was really lucky that I only got like two guesses the entire time. Very thankful.
Yeah, you did spectacular, superb, other adjectives I could use, job of not giving away in any way. That you were the puppet master, and that was definitely great in regards to that gameplay and how you focused and obviously made it to the end and everything like that. Because that's kind of what I was trying to do and wanted to do. Um, and I'm sure that'll be shown when Gavin ever unveils our videos, whether it's the interview or when we accepted it. Those conversations with him individually. Um, but I wanted to ask you in regards to your approach in regards to actual guessing during each case. Since obviously we couldn't pick ourselves and we just had to just throw names with whoever we truly thought, like maybe you had an idea of the one person, like later in the season you did pinpoint me, but um but in general, like how did that thought process go for you each and every week, trying to make the guesses of two guesses, because really for us we have two shots at picking who, for you the killer, for me the puppet master is, um because we can't get the other point.
Yeah, the other point was kind of like it kind of worried me because I was like, "Oh, what if my case not good enough because I don't have that extra point?" But we both did good with that because we made it as far as we did. But guessing the killers, at first I really just threw out random names because I was like, "There is no way week one or week two I'm gonna be able to figure out who's doing all of this because I haven't gotten to know anyone." I randomly just said John because of obviously the Bible verse. And I was like, oh, okay, it's him. Like, let me just say that. Um, then I switched between like Billy and Becky because I didn't work with them. So I was like, you know what? Let me just throw a name that I'm not aligned with. Maybe I'll maybe it'll stick and maybe I'll get it right. And then after a little bit, I did guess you, and I was so adamant about it being you because, like, I picked out, like, little things that you were doing that I was doing, and, like, since you know how we were, you know, outside perspective of, like, knowing what was happening and running the accounts, I was kind of
Hmm.
like, "Okay, I see what he's doing." So, like, it has to be Steven. I'm like, also, it could be this person, but I'm like, I feel like it's Steven, I just feel like it is. But yeah.
Yeah, that that quiet little guy, Steven. Yeah, but anyways, I think for me the most fun as the killer that I had throughout the whole season was during the separation during the Lindsey John week, those
Mhm.
cases, because we got to see how both teams were doing. I talked about this last night in my own tell all that I just had fun going back and forth, looking how each team is doing. I mean, obviously, I was in my own team, you were in your own team, but going to the other team and seeing how they're interacting, if they're sharing things or not, or how they're playing each other, and just kind of sit back my popcorn, so to speak, and just in seeing how somewhat chaotic it was over there in Team Lindsay and at times, and how interesting it was over at Team John. So I think that's for me the best and or most fun or whatever moment out of all the things getting to do as the killer. But for you, with the bigger role, the number one role as a puppet master, um, what would say you be your most entertaining, fun, or greatest week for you in your own experience?
Oh, that's hard. Um, I did really like the double murder week because we did get to read each other's group chats, and Team Lindsay was very dysfunctional, and it was kind of a mess. Um, but I also love the bonus murder only because Becky was framed, and I felt like that was good for me because I was wondering, I was like, so if the killer is going to target the Puppet Master, I'm like, right, is my name going to be revealed? Am I going to die or something going to happen? And the whole thing about like Becky being involved, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that week also, I didn't submit a case because I wanted somebody to get the bonus information about me because I know that was one of the prizes.
Mm-hmm.
I felt not like I was being too difficult, but since I was getting no guesses, I was like hoping somebody would pick up on the information and kind of use it and kind of figure out who it was. Uh, Ross did win that and eventually did guess me at the end. So maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but that was also very fun.
Um, Yeah, well, in regards for me, in regards to being the killer and how I think I did and making it as far as I did, and well, in general, I mean, obviously making it as a killer, but in general, like if I was the player making it to the finale as you did as well, of course, certainly was a interesting and fun ride both of us getting to, and how we got to the finale. But I have a question for you in regards to being the puppet master and quote unquote dealing with me as a killer. Um, Now looking back or whatever, how would you obsess not obsess, but how would you grade or think of how I did, whether in the game or the role? Um, and obviously you can be honest either way. But your thoughts on that.
I honestly think you did really well. And that's because the way you approach and use the actual killer account was so good. It really, like, we really had everybody frustrated. And that's exactly what we were supposed to do from the beginning. So we really succeeded with that. And I feel like you were really good at chiming in at certain times and kind of just like sending the emojis because people were just like, what is going on? Like they were always confused. Um, and yeah, because I've never played with you before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect from anybody. Um, and so me guessing as a killer, like when I did at the beginning, I really had no clue. It took a little bit for me to like look into it because once I had like thinking it was you, I really looked into the tweets. I really looked into the account. I looked into everything and just to make sure that I had it right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you did really well because this is only your second game, right?
Yes. Yep.
and you managed to do all of this and make it to the finale, let alone be the killer the whole time. Like, pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, I did want to bring up this less a question, more of a comment. Is how I liked, because there's times during the game, not many, but a couple, where decisions Gavin had to make, but had to ask us individually about what we thought of it. Like the killer challenge in the beginning, with the three options of being everybody gets to see it, no one gets to see it, or just us get to see it. And I'm hoping, though at the time I didn't truly know who the puppet master was, but I'm like, I hope the puppet master agrees with me, because I wanted it just to be us and fuck around with these people even more.
Hmm.
That's what I wanted. I'm like, I hope this person, he or she, is thinking the same way, whoever it is. And so I think even those little things, even those little details, and us agreeing in that way, or at least Gavin said to me, we agreed, but agreed in those votes and voting, and how we did with the teams, and other things. Like I kind of caught on, at least on my end, that hey, in our game style may be drastically opposite in a way, and obviously effective, but also we have more in common than one thinks in regards to thinking, in regards to approaching situations, in regards to like when I had to be ruthless, and I felt like after Billy pissed me off and I made that gameplay of when I made the teams, I wanted him to be exiled and eliminated next because I was hurt and upset with that Ross situation. But yeah, that was pretty. I think I noticed that well, now that I know it's you, that me and you, we're kind of thinking in the same wavelength, in uncertain things, and that we are, I guess, more alike in thinking. What's your thought on that in regard? I guess wasn't that at all in regards to those voting when we each voted individually with Gavin, and then with the teams and everything. Like, do you agree that maybe that you someone realized that we may be more alike, even not be on the same team, of course, than may I first thought?
Yeah, I think we were the combination, like the perfect combination of opposite and exactly the same. I know it sounds weird because I feel like our actual gameplay throughout was very different, but our decisions as the pub master and killer were very similar. And it's kind of like interesting because, like you said, the decisions we made with Gavin, because I was hoping that too. I was really hoping it would just be us two who got to see it, and I could just mess up, like throw the names around, confuse them, throw numbers around, you know. And when we did the teams, I wrote down the teams for the tell-all on Gavin's, but we almost had like the same exact kind of like, I don't know what to call it, like format, because
Mhm.
obviously we had the two scared first, but then we picked our like biggest ally second. Then we picked like people who were like close to us but not super close, and then we picked ourselves, and then like our last few picks. So I was like, it's interesting how it all came together, almost exactly the same.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
we
kind of eerie
really,
if you think about it. How similar we were on, again, with playing two different ways. Me being shy, bashful, and um, I guess quote unquote goody two shoes, to the other end of you being an actual player, being more ruthless, and not, giving an f about it, and doing what you had to do 100% of the time. Me with certain situations, but still, even with the drastic difference that worked for both of us, that we're thinking in the same sort of way, like you just said, how eerie it was with how we pick each individual person for our teams.
yeah, it was exactly the same, and it's very creepy, but also very cool if you think about it.
Definitely very cool. Excuse me, definitely very cool indeed, for sure. And I know Ross said he might not be able to watch this live, but he'll be watching this in general because he's looking forward to hearing in regards to our difference in playing and how we did in this game. But in regards to your teammate Ross, in regards to your team in general, um, how do you feel in regards to when you started that, when you made that team? I mean, I know you know Ross from previous games. You know Ethan personally. Did you guys know from jump you guys are gonna run this house?
Um, I had a strong feeling, because on my end, I was immune to dying, so I already knew I was good. I knew Ross is very, very good at Whodunnit games. He's won previous, he's played a ton. So I was like, okay, he's gonna be a great ally, and I'm close to him, so I was like, that's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethan was such a great asset because our plan was to have him, of course, on our team. But since nobody else knew him, we were going to infiltrate him kind of like throughout the place and get him closer to people we weren't close with and get their information and kind of bring it back to us. So it would kind of be like the perfect blend of everybody knows Ross and is scared of him, and nobody knows Ethan and doesn't know what he's up to. And then, of course, we had Lindsay, who's been amazing, and I love her so much. She's great, and it was just great. It was a fun team. I'm glad they were down to have me return and join them again because they're cool people. I love playing games with them in general. So this was a great uh, blend of people.
Definitely, definitely, because it's a blend of most of veterans, and even the rookie that you had there is someone that you know personally, and someone that maybe even you bounced ideas off of in regards to past games when he's not playing, if that was allowed. Um, with cases or otherwise, so he knows about it, or maybe does, and did, and didn't come in cold or anything like that. Um, Now, from what Ross shared and what like he got for the Puppet Master advantage, part of me wish I did. Not saying I would for sure would have pinned you, but I think with I have one document here that I always have my notes for everything. Let's see if I can even screen share here. But anyways, I have a document where I have everything of tallies beyond the killer tally, and okay. Where I just have whatever I need and be able to go and reference to it, and with that, I think I would have been able to for sure at least somewhat pinpoint of what I thought that maybe it was. Did you do or have anything like that in regards to a document, in regards to keeping tally of the killer tally or any other tallies?
In my phone notes, I just have like a bunch of information about every murder. I had the killer tallies written down before, but other than that, not really.
Sorry about that. Trying to get to the right screen. If it'll load any faster, hopefully you can see this.
Yeah.
Come on now. My Chromebook is slow. But anyways, yeah, I have the scared spared for every single person, winner of the riddles, best case, and then the killer predictions there. So I had everything there that I needed in regards to keeping it tied for the whole entire game. So my point being is with that, and then with getting what I guess in the end was to be given and did be given from Gavin to Ross, is that maybe, not saying for sure, but might have been able to at least somewhat pinpoint who it is with those specific numbers and things that were given to Ross that I probably just had to look on that document, um, counted up what I had for each person and their numbers, and be like, okay, that person, yeah, okay. So I might have got it, but that's why I do that, and I did that for my rookie season. Already doing that. I know Ross said in the interview last year that he was impressed by that as a rookie. But anyways, in regards to you, in regards to your gameplay, in regards to being the almighty puppet master, how did you feel in regards to how everything went down in the finale? How much fun was that?
The finale was very interesting. There was two, I don't want to say mistakes, but unexpected turn of events. So the first one was when Ross and Ethan were in the same Google Hangout, just sitting there because they didn't know what was going on. And so Gavin's talking to me. He's like, I don't know what to do. So as the pub master, I had to caused a scene. So I entered with my like actual Google Hangout account, entered the party, and was kind of like playing off like what's going on, like who's the killer, who's the puppet master, like who was here first. Does that mean you're the puppet master? Was starting throwing names out so I could get them to leave. But
Hmm.
the result was pretty fun. It was very different. And how we all ended up in the one hangout, and then Ross declared the winner because he was the first to find me. Um, and then he had to decide who he was going to shoot, and if he picked the wrong person, he would legit die, and he would be so close to winning, but just not quite. I would have felt really bad if he did all of that and ended up dying, and me and you just like
Walked
won.
him. Yeah.
Right. But he did make the right decision, which is good on
Hmm.
his part. But yeah, the finale was very interesting, very intricate, and I have to give it to Gavin because the details, wow, wow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, through the whole game, and all the interesting stuff that are not interesting, but deep work that he had to do for planning for the finale, for the double murder, even something for the bonus investigation, and everything that he had to do, and doing that all by himself. That's why he's hoping and planning to have a team next time, but just doing it by himself for this case or this game was very well done by Gavin, and commend him for doing so and doing it very very well. Um, excuse me, but trying to think of other actual questions, but just I was very impressed in regards to how you played, and even though I haven't played a Whodunnit with you, almost like for a little bit while, like I thought you were a rookie yourself until I went back and looked at the when you were casted, sort of thing. Like, oh no, he's played a couple times. He knows what he's doing in general, sort of thing. But just because I didn't know you, so you're a rookie to me in the sense of I didn't, you didn't exist in this world to me until this game. But all in all, obviously did a great job, and I think, well, like you said, if we did work together and how similar we were thinking in those situations that we already spoke about, really does show that, and so for you moving forward, heading into the next game, heading into the 2020 game, whatever it's going to be called, out of this world or whatever. Well, what do you think you plan to do? Are you planning to want to play? Or you want to take another break? Do you want to interview or send an application for production, be part of production? Where's Ryan thinking? Where do you think you want to go moving forward?
Um, Honestly, it I don't know yet because even though we did play this season, because we really put in the work and deserved what we got, I would love to just play as a house guest. But at the same time, I'm like, I have so many ideas for a whodunit game and kind of like all that kind of stuff. So it's like maybe production would be a really good and fun position to work with Gavin and the crew and kind of create the murders, create the locations, and the advantages and all that. Because I have done one whodunit game in the past, but it was a long time ago and it was a little rough. So it might be fun to like redeem myself, quote unquote, and kind of work with Gavin, especially on his production team, because what he did by himself was incredible. I can only imagine what he's going to do with like a group of people backing him up.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to say this is interesting because it seems like everybody that I've talked to, let alone myself, I've said I'm going to be putting my name in the hat for production. And Ross even said that when we did our interview yesterday, because he said that too. He wants to look into production. That when I said I wanted to too, he'd be like, "Well, we won't have anybody else to play." And I was just like, "I'm pretty sure there'll still be enough people to play from 2018 season, past seasons of other games, Facebook or other social media places that were played. If we want to have a this its own super team, but not in-game super team, but super team part of production. If it is casted as me, Ross, you, Ryan. I'm trying to think about someone else that might be interested in there. I know Rebecca was thinking about it. For others, or just that would be a strong knit team. Like for me, I can see myself. I want to be working about the aesthetics of things in regards to when when the cast is announced. Maybe you can do it more in a video sense. Do it more like something like on here, um, something more theatrical, and yes, maybe dramatic, but whatever, still entertaining. Also helping out with grading. Also making sure when people while people are playing, I'm one that makes sure and wants and be the rules police in a sense. Making sure things are being done right. Also making sure that and other little pinpointing things like scheduling or my eye for detail. In that way, also my ideas in regards to the advantages, not writing them out the actual ideas, but in regards to creativity to them per se. But anyways, just talking about what I would want to bring to the table if I was part of production. What do you think you would want to bring to the table? Is it just in general? You don't care what your role is? Um, what would you be thinking if you were part of that team with Gavin at the lead?
I would love to be part of like the creative aspect. I'm currently, well, not currently, but I'm going to go to school for like creative writing because I love writing and I love putting, I don't know, interesting touches on typical things, if that makes sense. Like in
Mm-hmm.
my notes, I have about 4 to 5 like whodunit murders or themes of murders that I would like to implement if I ever have a game or if I ever work on production. Just some
Mm-hmm.
things that like I just think of and I have to write it down because like this could be used. I could use this, or I just love doing putting my own spin on stuff that is already happening. I Everything in Whodunnit though would be fun to be a part of the writing, the locations, or coming up with ideas and themes for the murders.
Well, that's for sure. I know I certainly would like to help in like I said the last creative way because I'm not that great of thinking of deep creative murders or deep and creative things like that. That others are great at, like you would. Like I myself, I'm looking to go into school, but for something way like I'm doing broadcasting. I'm looking into broadcasting as a career. I enjoy doing my YouTube channel and these videos. That's why I was happy to find StreamYard after Google Hangouts left YouTube because I have banners and other things that I can have make it more professional. So that's where I'm looking in my life. So in regards to being part of Who Done It Creative or my production, where that's where my expertise would be in regard to the production of the Scared Spirit ceremonies, the production of um, the unveiling of the guests, the house guests that are coming to Rue Manor or wherever, that's going to be part of the cast. Um, a production of other things. Also, like I said, kind of like being like a teacher, like the grade things, grading cases, um, going over things like that with fine tooth comb, helping Galvin out, and all the other little integral parts, making sure that things are done and that things are given out in a timely manner. I mean, there's a lot of things to give up for information, for locations and other things, especially if the Choose Your Own Adventure continues for the next game. Um, you know, helping out Gavin, making sure that okay, everybody got what they needed. You don't need to worry about people, you know, snapping back at him or anything about not getting it yet or blah blah blah. Just get those ducks in the row. Might be a minutia little thing, but muy importante in this grand scheme of things. So, um, that being of that. I guess my final actual question to you is your best and least favorite moment while playing this game.
Ooh. Um, my favorite was honestly just playing a whole new version of a whodunit game. Like you said, the choose your own adventure, the double take, um, the two killers, how we were split with the two teams. Just every week, I felt like there was something different, and every week there was something in a whodunit game that I've never experienced. Because usually it's like you're all in the same house throughout the season, and maybe one week you switch it up, or maybe one week something happens. But every single week, Gavin did not stop. He just kept going crazier and crazier, and it was amazing that he came up with all of this and was able to execute it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I ever have a game or if I ever do anything with production, there's so many like different features I want to add because I don't know, just I feel like adding this kind of stuff changes the whole format of the game, and it kind of gives the players a different take and a different perspective. Because if you're playing the same whodunit game year after year after year, it's fun, but it gets repetitive.
Right.
So Gavin was just like, "This is going to be like nothing we've ever done before," and he absolutely nailed it. Props to him for doing all that. But yeah, I'm wondering if he's going to add anything new to next season or take stuff away next season. I'm just interested to see where his head's going to go and create all these new kind of things for players who have and haven't played and how they're going to interact and how he's going to force them to team up and force them to hate each other because he definitely did that this season.
That's for sure. I mean, in regards to murders and the gruesomeness of them, and murder weapons, different places we went. We didn't just stay in the manor, and other things. It was also interesting with the cast and the interaction with everybody from the start to finish, from the first eliminated player Brian, all the way to the end with Sarah being the last, I guess, in regards to scared spared stuff, eliminated that way. But um, either way, great group of people. Enjoyed the cast overall, and yeah, I say John's murder is the most interesting. That after the fact, learning what happened to him, gruesomeness. But the most fun I had actually researching for a murder was the military week with Rebecca's. That one was fun to research things and kind of go back in my own wheelhouse and do that. Like that was a fun quote unquote week or a couple of days, doing all of that. But before we say our goodbyes or anything, I wanted to throw it to Ryan. I know I'm interviewing him. He is the number one to my number two in regards to Puppet Master Killer. But do you have any questions for me?
Um, what was I don't want to say the hard. Yeah, what was the hardest case that you had to like research for and kind of film a video for and kind of wrap your head around? Because there were some murders where Gavin really had me confused, and I was worried I was gonna get a scary card, but
Yeah. As people say, there are, I guess, as what I learned from this game, I learned a lot of terms from this game. I learned
hmm
tea, I learned yeet, I learned shook, I learned a lot of terms that I've never heard in my life before. So I was like the old guy, not knowing what these things mean. And I'm only 31. So, but anyways, to actually answer your question, the case that had me the most shook, or the one that was hardest for me, where I was researching and trying to get things put together for even down to the last hour to get a case in sometimes. I think the hardest one of all of them, let me think here, um, probably was John's or um, John, and then the double murder, like after, like both those two in a row, were complex in a way, for their own way for me. So I think those two were the hardest ones for me in regards to researching and figuring out truly. And for that second, for the double murder, after I heard flamethrower and a couple
hmm
other little details, I'm like, oh crap! Like I'm thinking about it while we're going, or while the scared spread ceremony is going on. I'm trying not to show it on my face, but I'm like, and I'm just thinking, oh crap! Like I just wanted to get up and leave the ceremony for a moment and not hear the rest or put it on mute. Like it's not happening, it's not happening, sort of thing, because I was worried that I was gonna probably get my first scared card. Now I didn't have to worry about dying, sure, but I still wanted to play as perfect, near perfect of a game as I could. I take it that seriously, whether I should or not. I do. So, um, in that way, like I was really worried, and but I did all right with my case, but unfortunately, it wasn't because flamethrowers. So I think those two would be my my toughest ones.
I'm sad I didn't get to do John's murder, like, because everyone was saying how insane it was, and I was like, well, but Lindsay's was really fun to do as well because it was in the Bahamas and underwater and all that kind of stuff. But I really wish I got to do John, but it is what it is.
True. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Excuse me. But before we do say goodbye, I wanted to promote something that I'm actually going to hopefully not confirmed or anything yet, but be part of a different game. Something that might not be my wheelhouse, but something that I do know about. I've watched shows that there's the show that this has to do with, and I'm going to throw my hat in a different ring. I'm used to doing Whodunnit here for a couple years. We'll be doing it in the next year, but kind of transitioning to try something else that I could hear about. And that will be Twitter challenge from the MTV show The Challenge, and me and another person, um, to be found out later if we are casted, to be a team, and certainly it'll be interesting to be part of something different. But if casted, I definitely think me and other person will do a great job. I think the mix of us will certainly be interesting for ourselves, but also for ones that we are facing. Also, for me, for anything, looking forward to meeting new people in this universe, so to speak, with the challenge, the fans, and people in that fandom, and like I said, in that universe and that kind of mindset. So, as you can see in the banner, Twitch Challenge, you can find them on Twitter at Twitter_challenge, Twitter Challenge there, the challenge from MTV is what that's based off of, obviously. So, just wanted to share that to all those out there. Maybe if I am casted, just like here for Whodunnits, hashtag Team Kapleen. Hashtag Team Kapleen. We're going to be part of Team Kapleen. And cheer me on and just follow along and see how things go. But before that even happens, have to be casted first. So kind of hard to win something when you're not in it. So, but I just did want to share of that, because even if I'm not casted, I will be keeping my eyes on it and following along and seeing how some of the other people that I know that are already, I guess, casted for the show. So, but before that, wanted to throw it to Ryan. Any last words, thoughts that you did want to share here before we say goodbye?
Just want to say thank you for having this little interview and trying to get my perspective on, the other side of the killer spectrum. Uh, that's really it. The game was really fun. Hopefully, we're involved in the next one, production, playing, whatever it is. And good luck in that challenge game if you are, casted, because the challenge is kind of everything. Love that show. So do it justice in the game and win.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to apply for a game, whether I'm immersed in it or as much as I was with Who Done It, and because the one season of Who Done It, the many seasons of the challenge, that difference. But still, I'm not going to apply to a game if I don't think that I have whether an outside chance or big chance to win. I come to play. I'm very competitive, as much as I am wholesome and goody two shoes in a sense of my personality, which I always will be. I'm not going to change. But when it comes to games, I could play someone in ping pong or pick up basketball. It could be simple things that I'm playing with somebody, but I want to kick their butt and win, even though to them they could care less. So I'm always that way in regards to competition. So if I am casted, other people better be ready. Also, I want to share one last time, since this is the last video about Who Done It. All my cases, all 9 of them, are now on my YouTube channel. They are now public, so people can watch any of them, have some giggles, have some laughs, enjoy them. I think the ones that people have already said they've enjoyed the most was the military one, just because of the jokes. Not everybody's military, but just of the actual jokes. Me actually the most relaxed in doing a case and doing my videos. Um, so yeah. But as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Army_strong_06. Later tonight here, I will have The Ramble, my wrestling podcast with Rebecca. We'll be having The Ramble. You can follow that at The Ramble_WWE. We'll be talking about all things WWE. A lot of things to talk about, King of the Ring and otherwise. And then next week, my football show returns for the football season, Talking Packers with Steve. I do talk about all 32 teams at Talking with Packers. So beyond that, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Enjoy it, have fun, and I will see you guys all in the next video. And above all else, as always, take care.